Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we'll take a look at the 2021 year ahead forecast for life path number 8. This is a general reading. If you'd like a personal reading, then please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. So, 8s. 2021 is what we call a 5 universal energetic year. And so, the best way for me to explain that energy in a nutshell is exploration from the ashes. That's really what's coming in for me. So where 2020 was a 4 universal collective year, we saw a lot of the dismantling of structures and systems and belief systems and institutions and you name it. It was if it was faulty, it was crumbling. And so basically what the universe was doing for us in 2020 was giving us a clean slate to work from. And I do think that we'll continue to see some of that dismantling because, that takes time to get rid of the things that are no longer working. It's not something that happens, it's been years and years to get there. So it's not going to be just a year that we start from scratch. But I do feel like for 2021, I don't necessarily see 2021 as a rebuilding year, but I do see it more of, as I said, an exploration from the ashes year. So again, we're taking this time to truly explore, to slow down and pay attention to what we are choosing and who we are choosing to build with, what we're choosing to build, who we're choosing to build with, or how we're choosing to build, right? And so I feel like this is going to really be that kind of year where it's like we get to explore the different building blocks, see how they might fit, and then decide whether we want to use them. And so we may start building some things or rebuilding some things in 2021, but again, I really feel like the focus is going to be on exploration and really, really feeling into what feels good to us organically and allows us to show up in as our most authentic self. So the key is you get to choose how you rebuild. You get to choose, again, what, how, who. And this year is really going to be focused in on taking your time to and use your discernment to decide what works for you. And so with a 5 energy, and again, this is what we'll be feeling collectively. So with a 5 energy, it just brings change and redirections. But that change and redirection is really about helping you to see, okay, maybe that building block that you picked up that you want to use isn't necessarily the perfect one for you or the one that will best align with the direction that you want to move into. So maybe we need to adjust. And so it's like those changes and redirects are more of adjustments to help you in your exploration and expansion this year, okay? So it is a 5 energy. 5 energy is known to be full of changes and transformation, but it doesn't feel like as intense as 2020 was. It feels more like, again, exploration. So those redirects, those adjustments, those changes are sort of the universe coursing to help you in your decision. And so again, it's like if you are decorating your house and you go to a designer, they're helping you in making your decisions, right? And so that's kind of what, and maybe if you're like, oh, I really like this plaid, I don't know, this plaid and paisley curtain, they could be like, well, that doesn't really match the decor, so what about this? And show you other options. And so again, that's really what I feel like 2021 is going to be like. The changes and the redirects are going to be showing us other options and other perspectives and other ways to think about things so that when we do make those decisions, we're making it from a space that we feel fully confident moving forward. And really what keeps coming in for me collectively for this 5 energy is about continuing to find your balance and be mindful of the extremes, because with 5 energy, we can easily get pulled into the extremes. And I do still think that we're going to see extremes happening and chaos kind of happening in the external world, and it's easy to get caught up in that. And so again, it's going to be about you creating your own internal balance and coming back to that center when things feel out of control. Okay, and so I pulled an animal spirit card for eights specifically to get an overall view for the year for you. And you guys got mouse spirit. And I really like this energy. It's very sweet and but also very direct. And so what mouse has to say is you're overlooking some important details. So pay closer attention to what's going on. And what I love about that is because eight energy is so big and sweeping. It's a big sweeping energy. It just wants to move forward. It's got big visions, big goals, big dreams, right? Which isn't a bad thing. But it takes a lot to slow an eight down. And so I feel like this year is going to be when you get in that really, you start to feel your momentum, but you feel like you're getting, you're just focused on the bigger picture and you're just focused on the goal. I do feel like you're going to have experiences come in that are going to ask you to slow down, pay attention to the details. Remember, this is an exploratory year. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to the details as you build the bigger picture. Okay, that's really, really important. You can't get to point Z without moving through the steps, right? From A to Z, right? And so I don't feel like this is like a standstill energy. I feel like it's a continuous movement forward as you continue to explore. And so remember, when you feel like things are too big or you're just like, why aren't I getting to my end point? There's a reason, because you're meant to focus on the details this year. You're meant to explore all of the different options, all the different perspectives, so that you can decide what works best for you as you continue to move forward towards that bigger goal. So that's your overall energy. Now I'm going to break it down into each month of the year to kind of see what's potentially coming in for you. January, we have this energy of again, a slight change, a slight redirection, but it's coming from a space of you receiving some kind of new clarity. It doesn't feel like a major redirect. It doesn't feel, like a catastrophic redirection or anything like that, or an upheaval. It just feels like, you have an aha moment, you have some clarity coming in, and now it changes your direction a little bit. So again, it's kind of like as you're starting this exploration period, you are gaining those new insights, you're gaining that new clarity, and that's helping you on your direction. So I really do feel like January is going to be a month full of change, but in a way that is where it feels aligned, where you're like, you're almost like really pleased that these changes are coming in, that these insights are coming in, because it's like the little puzzle pieces that we're kind of missing are showing up and allowing you to create or move from that space of feeling like you finally have some clarity, okay? And this can be around relationships or job, or again, it's a general reading, so however it comes in for you. But I definitely feel like January is going to be like this shift in energy where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got some clarity coming in. And it feels like it comes in low doses. It doesn't feel like this huge aha moment, but it does feel like, again, you're going to start seeing the pieces come together. You're going to start seeing new options, new ideas that really excite you and feel really aligned. So I love this energy for eights for January. Then we move into February, and there's this energy of some self-doubt coming in for you all. There's this energy of being in your head, but feeling kind of restricted and confined, but it's more mental. It's more energetic. It's not like you are actually physically constrained, right? Now, I do collectively feel like February, for some reason, this is coming up in a lot of readings, that February could be collectively a lot of turmoil and sort of disruption and maybe riots or whatever, who knows. But there is this energy of this feeling of needing to change, but resisting that change, of needing to break free, but also resisting that need to break free. So 5 energy collectively is about freedom, is about having wide open expanses to run free. I always think of like a horse running in a meadow at full speed ahead, just with the wind blowing in its hair, or in its mane, whatever. Just that sense of freedom. And, 2020 was so restrictive on so many levels. And so I do feel like for February, it's almost this energy of like, okay, enough is enough. I need to break free, body, mind, spirit. And so we could see that collectively, but you could also be feeling that internally. Like maybe you just are like, what, I need to go on a trip somewhere. I need to travel somewhere. I need to see my family. I need to, I don't know, I need to do this next step in my evolution, but, career-wise or whatever. And whatever was kind of restricting you or holding you back, it's almost like, again, it feels almost at this point sort of mental, where at this point, you kind of need to remember that you always have a choice. It may look different than what you want it to look, but you always have a choice in how you show up and how you maneuver through the energy as it presents itself. And so if things are feeling really, really, really restrictive for you in February, or you're feeling confined, or you're feeling like you want to move ahead, but you just can't get there, like you feel like you're just being held back, what they're saying is check the stories that you're telling yourself, check your mindset is basically what's coming in. So again, if you have an opportunity to do something in your career or in a relationship or something like that, but something keeps nagging you and making you feel unworthy or that you're not capable, then this is a call to, again, go back, check that mindset, make sure that you're checking the details, right? What are you missing? There's a piece here that you need to pay attention to, because, or maybe it's just asking you to slow down, but there's a piece that you're potentially missing that is keeping you stuck, and it's more mindset. And I really feel like that. For some of you, it may actually be very, very physical, but again, that comes back to you taking the reins back and deciding how you want to move forward and what works best for you. And sometimes we have to work within the constructs of the system. But at the same time, we always have resources and tools available, and we always get to choose how we show up to a situation. So anyway, take that how it comes in for you. But there is this sense for February of really wanting to bust free and have some forward movement, have that freedom, but there's this feeling of being restricted. And again, it could just be like with that 8 energy, you just want to go full speed ahead and land right now at the end point, but you're being asked to move methodically through the steps and slow down and pay attention to the details. Okay, so interesting energy coming in for February. Then we move into March, and I love this energy for March. It's like March, April, and May have really positive, peaceful energies for you all, and very creative energies. And so for March, we have this energy of feeling really centered, feeling really balanced, feeling really aligned, body, mind, spirit. And so there's almost like you have this really strong connection to your higher consciousness, but you're also very grounded, which I think is really, really important. It's kind of like, again, you've overcome some things, you've gotten some new clarity, and you feel really, really balanced. You're really nourishing body, mind, spirit this month. And so again, it's kind of like, this is also a great month for you for manifestation. And when I speak of manifestation, I always talk about, having the insights, having the ideas, having the inspiration, and then taking intentional action towards that idea, right? Creating that idea, creating that vision. And so it feels like March, you could have some opportunities coming in. They feel very, very, the energy feels very synchronistic. So it's almost like things falling in your lap, things feeling very, very aligned. People, places, things showing up for you that just suddenly make sense, that again are helping you on your journey, but allowing you to continue to follow your center and follow your own truth. But you feel very balanced. Okay. So that's a really beautiful energy. Just, again, you need to, of course, be open to it and harness that energy, but it does feel very, very synchronistic in March for you. And then we move into April, and there's just this energy of contentment. It's almost like it feels really easy. April feels really easy, and I like to see that for eights because, eights, your tarot card in numerology is the strength card. There's a lot of inner strength that goes into your journey, and it's almost like it can feel like an uphill battle at times, but it's interesting. April just feels like just easy, just really, really, there's a lot of contentment, there's a lot of peace, and a lot of, again, maybe finding your center and feeling really balanced. So just enjoy that. And I do get the sense of, I just saw the kind of like if you're driving and you see the stop sign or the little sign on the side of the road that says slow down and it's blinking. That's actually what I'm seeing for you all for April. So again, it may be that the universe is forcing you to slow down a little bit, but you're finding contentment in that. You're finding some peace and joy in that. And it's almost like a breath of fresh air for you. So really embrace that energy. Don't, if you feel the urge to go into action mode and just, overdo it, slow down. This is your month that you really just need to slow down and find your peace in that, find your balance between the action and the stillness. But yeah, so April feels really content, very happy, not a lot of drama. This is a general reading, but for the majority of eights, this feels like a really positive, light month for you. So really embrace that. If you feel like, if you start to get in your head and you think, why don't I have all this forward movement? Just pause, come back to the joy and the contentment and just relax, because this month is one for just enjoying your surroundings, okay? Then we move into May, and it's interesting. Once again, you're kind of like ready to go into exploration mode big time and just let things get messy and, let your hair down and just really play and really let your creative life force fuel your month, right? So it's kind of like when you're in exploration mode, you're really just, I always think of like finger painting when this energy comes in. It's like getting your hands dirty, just being that child again, like really connecting to your inner child. And sometimes that can be a little difficult for eights because you can be so hyper-focused on career or on purpose or, whatever. But just remember that a lot of times, some of our greatest inspiration comes from that playtime, from that time of just pure bliss, just, being a child again and just tapping into that innocence and that energy and really enjoying that. Now, for some of you, you may have news of pregnancy or, you may have a child this month, something like that. But overall, it feels like an energy where it's just asking you to tap into that and tap into the freedom that comes with that childlike innocence, and comes with also the freedom of when you watch, animals, when you watch a cat, right? A cat is not stressed out. You rarely see a cat stressed out unless they're being chased or something, right? But it's like, or unless something scares them, like a cucumber. But it's like, you rarely see cats stressed. They're very independent. They're very like, self-absorbed. No, they're very calm. They're like, if something, disrupts their peace or their tranquility, they just shake it off and they move on, right? And they know when it's nap time. They know when it's go time. And so it's kind of, again, like really tapping into that, our animal instincts and not feeling that constant drive, right? Like not feeling like if we're not in constant drive mode that there's something wrong with us. So it really is just tapping into the energy of the childlike innocence and that of the animal kingdom, right? Maybe like watch a show on animals and just see how their behavior is, just see how they just naturally behave. And it's like, they just don't have the same stresses that we have. And I know it's a different realm, but it's kind of like sometimes they can be our greatest teacher. So May really feels like this opportunity for you to tap into that energy again and just really play, just really get your hands dirty, just really, do something unbridled, do something you haven't done in a long time. Give yourself permission to just have fun, right? And through that fun, through that joy, I'm betting that some great inspiration will come in for you, some great creative inspiration. Then we move into joy. We move into June, which does bring a lot of joy for you. I'm really seeing like, just this kind of feeling like you're getting these massive gifts from the universe that are really feeling fulfilling. And so it's almost like you had some great ideas, inspiration, creativity come in for you in May, and now in June, you're really getting the opportunities to implement that. You're really getting the opportunities to, find those pieces during your exploration that really fit for you, that really work, and you're really feeling fueled by that. You're feeling fulfilled and just a lot of joy from that. For some of you, I am getting this incredible offer of love. So it could be a proposal, it could be a meeting somebody that is, a soulmate or something like that for you. It feels very, very like a destined relationship. Could be friends or, whatever too. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but it does feel very, very fulfilling. It's kind of like that feeling of, again, meeting a soulmate type thing. So that could potentially come in for some of you, but it just feels like this overwhelmingly fulfilling gift from the universe, right? Like emotionally satisfying in a big way. And so again, you're worthy of that. Embrace that. Just go with the flow and enjoy that energy. So really beautiful energies for you so far for 2021. I'm loving this. Anything that's going to hold you back in 2021 is really going to be more mental, more in the mind, right? Those mindsets. So, but as we move into July, now you're really being asked. I feel like this is another one of those months that you're really being asked to slow down, pay attention to the details, and really go within. This is going to be one of those times where you're going to want to look to the external to give you the guideposts, but those guideposts are going to come from within. And so as much sort of kind of friction, I don't know why they're showing me friction, but as much friction as you're feeling from the external, and that may be coming in, like maybe you're feeling pressured from the external to do something. Maybe if you're in the spotlight, which isn't, unheard of for eights, you guys are usually in the spotlight in some way, but if you're getting pressure from the external to do something and you feel obligated, then this is the time to come back to center, to find your balance and ask yourself, do I feel aligned with doing whatever this is? Does this feel good for me? Because in order for it to be sustainable, it has to feel good for you. And so I feel like, that's where the growth is going to come from, doing things that feel good for you. And then in turn, through that joy, through that tranquility, you can produce something for the external that they're picking up that energy as well. But sometimes we do things and then the external gets used to those actions and they want more of those actions, but it's not sustainable for us. And so we need to pull it back a little bit, go within, find the stillness and ask ourselves, what's working for me? What is sustainable for me? And then build from that space and then allow the rest to just, follow and not sort of succumbing to the external pressures or the external friction. Okay. So if you're feeling like your center is tumultuous, then that means that you're out of alignment. And so you want to come back to center where it feels calm, where it feels aligned for you. If there's any kind of friction within, then that's a guidepost for you to take a closer look because something's not working. Something's not, you're not building something sustainable. So just a checkpoint there. I feel like July is going to be give you opportunities to check in, to potentially redirect, potentially change the way you're doing something and not succumb to the pressures of the external world to do something that pleases them, but rather doing something that really pleases you from the soul level. And that will sort of bleed out to the external, right? In a good way. That energy will be picked up by others. And, they'll adjust, they'll get used to it. So take that pressure off. Then we move into August, and it's interesting. There's this energy of like all of these new ideas, all these new perspectives, all of these new opportunities sort of coming in for you, and you needing to either really decide what you want to move forward with, like those building blocks, what works for you, but also there's this energy of reminding yourself that you don't need to do it alone. If there's a sense of martyrdom coming in for you in August, then this is a call to pause and check in with yourself and remind yourself that the only one that's forcing you to do it all alone is you. So this is your opportunity to ask for help, receive assistance, receive support. There's no medal of honor for doing everything alone, for trying to be an island and trying to take it all on yourself and being like, look what I did all by myself. I mean, that's great. You'll get there. You'll do it. That's fine. But there's no badge of honor in that. It's kind of like, there's a lot of work that we need. There's plenty of work that we have to do on our own, right? And some of the most difficult work we have to do on our own. But there are also times where it's very much that we're choosing to do something on our own when really we could be getting a ton of support from the external world. And so I feel like for August for you all, it's going to be a choice for you. You can either choose to take on more than you can handle and try to do it all alone, or you can release some of those things so that you lighten the load, or you can simply ask for support. You can ask for the help from the external or the resources to help move you forward to your goal, right? And also, one thing that's coming in is in August. Remember when I talked about this year being very exploratory? And so it's kind of like, again, there's that possibility of falling into extremes. So you may see a million different things that you want to do, and you may want to do every single one of them. So you're grabbing every single one of them. But the reality is you're not necessarily meant to do all of these ideas that are coming in for you. You're meant to really feel into and see what works for you, or pick one, move forward with it a little bit and see how it works. And then if it doesn't work, release it. You're not meant to grab onto every single thing and carry it forward. It's not that kind of exploration. It's kind of, again, seeing what works for you and really choosing the cream of the crop as you move forward and using those building blocks, not taking every option that comes up for you. So I feel like this is going to be really important for 8s for August, is using that discernment, really choosing wisely, right? And there's no wrong decision, but it's, again, not trying to take it all. So it's kind of like if you have an idea that you want to take a course, but 12 courses come up for you and they all look exciting, you're really going to have to use your discernment to choose which course works for you instead of trying to take all of them, right? If that makes sense. So interesting energy for August, but makes sense for 8s. Then we move into September, and we have this energy of some kind of new physical offer coming in for you. It feels very monetary. It feels very, very in the physical plane. So it could be the opportunity to collaborate with somebody, to work with somebody, to build something new, to start something new in your career, to, if you work for somebody, to apply for a promotion or apply for a different job within a different department or something like that. So it kind of feels like, or if you have your own business, it feels like you've got one of the building blocks that you chose has given you the insight to create something new, another tier to your business or whatever. And so it feels very aligned. It feels like it's going to take some time, whatever this is. This is really new energy. So it's kind of like, again, like an offer coming in. You get to choose if you accept it. But it feels aligned. So pay attention to what comes in. It could be you making an offer to somebody else to potentially work with you or collaborate or something like that, or create something with you. And again, it feels very, very aligned. And the potential for it is feels long-term, but for some of you, it might not be meant to be long-term, whatever this is. It might be like, kind of like, I hate to use the word quick fix, but it might be like a stepping stone, if that makes sense. So don't put a lot of pressure on whatever this is, because it does kind of feel like a stepping stone taking you to the next level. Because remember, going back to August, you're not necessarily meant to accumulate and keep everything that comes in for you, right? You're kind of like meant to explore. But September feels like this opportunity to explore something really exciting for you that's in the physical. So pay attention to what comes in for you. And if it feels aligned, then say yes to it. Then we move into October, and October feels like this energy of, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's easy for 8s to get very frustrated with themselves and their situation and their environment because, again, things aren't moving as quickly as they would like them to, Because remember, it's not just our timing, it's also divine timing. And so we have to surrender that control at times. And so October feels like mouse spirit coming back in to be like, slow down, just take your time. Don't worry, you're going to get there. It's going to happen. It feels like it might have taken forever to get here, but you're almost there. Keep going, but pay attention to the details. Slow down. Enjoy the process. That's really what I'm hearing too, is enjoy the process. And I'm really feeling that a lot for all of 2021 is during this exploration, enjoy the process of the exploration, because it's not always going to be like this. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because we're not always gonna have that freedom to just completely, recalibrate and start over in such a big way. And so if that energy comes in for you in October where you're just like, oh, enough already, I'm just ready for this to be, for me to be at point Z and I'm currently at point K or whatever, right? Then remember mouse spirit. Mouse is saying, slow down. It's okay. You're going to get there, right? It's a journey, not a sprint. So pay attention to the details. Why is the frustration coming up for you? What are you being shown? What's the lesson here? What's there to be taken away? And maybe it's just a matter of you reminding yourself that it doesn't all have to be done right now. Okay. So give yourself a little bit of slack, give yourself a little bit of freedom here. And so October, that mindset might be troubling again, where it's coming in like, why aren't I further ahead? Or that comparison to other people and where they're at or whatever. I do feel like you guys are going to make a lot of headway in 2021. But again, it feels very, very taking the reins back and really exploring what you want to create, what you want to build, right? And with who you want to build that with. And so again, that takes time, that takes showing up, and that takes a lot of energy. So it's going to take time. So if you feel like frustrated in October, remind yourself of mouse and just slow down a little bit. And then we move into November. And it's interesting. I feel like there's this really big expansive energy in November for you all. And so that could very well include travel. I'm feeling travel really, really strongly. That could just, could be just body, mind, spirit. I actually feel like travel though. And I feel like the travel is connected somehow to your creative life force, to the creativity. So if that has to do with a job, even a relationship, it's interesting. It's almost like if it has to do with a relationship, then it's something where that person is helping you in your evolution, in your growth forward and in your expansion. And, this could also be like really expanding your business or really expanding your like living situation. So again, I'm really getting strongly like moving. Yeah, and it feels, it could be overseas, it could be over water, that sort of thing. So, but then also I'm getting this energy of, because in November we had that feeling of like, why aren't things moving forward? Why are things taking so long? Then in November, where in October we were asked to slow down. In November, it's almost this energy of like, okay, well, honey, if your ship hasn't come in, then swim out to it. You know what I mean? Like now, what do you want to do? Like, how do you want to continue to move forward? Now is the time I feel like you're going to start. I feel like in November, you're going to have a lot of the blocks that you need to really start thinking about how you want to start building and to start building, right? And so it's kind of like, but you've got like this much bigger perspective. You've got this much more expansive area to play in. And so, but I do feel like there's going to be some kind of legitimate, tangible, something that feels very, very growth oriented and expansive in nature. So it's kind of like, again, you may have the idea like, okay, I want to move to another state, or I want to move to another country, or it doesn't have to be that big. But again, 8 energy is so big and sweeping that it could be. But it's almost like for some of you, your career is going to drive where you go. And so it's kind of like your creative life force is going to sort of dictate where you land. So again, it may be that you actually do move overseas, or you do move to another state or something like that, because it's allowing you to really dive into a whole other world to explore, right? So, yeah, interesting energies for November, but it feels very expansive. Feels very, very five energy. And so, again, that change coming in, but that change lifting you and moving you to your next step. So, really powerful, actually, November for you all. Then in December, it's interesting because, again, it's kind of like this opportunity to look over the year and see how far you've come. And really what I'm getting is this you having found your pillar of strength, which is your center. You finding the balance that works for you, right? You finding your calm within the chaos. And for eights, because a lot of you, your energy does take you into the spotlight. And so it's almost like through this year, you have opportunities to experience that friction from the external, those judgments, those pressures, those obligations, and you having found your center of realizing, okay, it doesn't feel good when I do something out of obligation. It doesn't feel good when I do something because of I'm being pressured to do it. So again, it's that eight energy of reclaiming your power over those who you may have succumbed to before. So in the past, if someone had said something or done something that made you feel small, it's kind of like now in December, you have the tools, you have the resources from within to recognize, okay, this works for me, or no, this doesn't work for me. And this is what I'm going to do because it works for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, again, there's that added pressure of having to please the external it's still there, but you have found a way to ride that wave. You have found a way to continuously come back to your center. And what I always say is, we move in and out of alignment throughout our lifetimes, but once we know what our true center feels like, when we know what that calm feels like, then when we move out of that center space, we recognize it. We almost instantaneously recognize it, right? And then it's just a matter of, okay, I feel out of alignment here. What do I need to do to get back into alignment? And we're able to move back into it through our actions and our experiences. But again, we have to experience those polarities, those extremes, to show us what we don't necessarily want so that we can move into an energy that we do want, right? And be able to work with those extremes and work with those polarities because they're always going to be there. They're not going anywhere. And so I do feel like 2021 is really this opportunity for you to continue to, did I say 2020? I meant 2021. Anyway, for this opportunity for you to continue to explore and find the building blocks, but also explore your inner depths, explore what works for you, explore what feels good for you, and then how do you stay true to that? And I feel like come December, you're going to be sitting at that throne. You're going to be at a space where you've experienced things that continue to push you within, and you've experienced things that you've explored in the external, and you're able to stand in your power and move forward in a way and move into 2022 a whole other level of wholeness that you haven't experienced before. And so December feels really, really powerful for you all, and it feels like very emotionally satisfying, but it also feels like finding that emotional center and really feeling worthy of standing in your own power. And even though that's going to continue to come with challenges, but yeah, there's just this really beautiful energy for December of having found your center. That's really what it comes down to. So, and then understanding what you need to continue to move back to your center if you fall outside of it. So I hope 2021 is a beautiful year for you eights. I think it's going to be really powerful, transformative, and just really freeing for you. So until next time, take care. Bye for now.